Self-doubt is a parasite. It whispers that we are unworthy, unprepared, or incapable. It thrives on hesitation, fear, and indecision. The Stoics recognized it for what it truly is, a destructive judgment, born not from reality, but from our own failure to act with reason and clarity. To destroy it, we must confront a brutal law, one that leaves no room for excuses, pity, or illusion. This is the law of relentless ownership. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Every moment we hesitate, every thought of uncertainty we entertain, we betray ourselves. Self-doubt only thrives when we abdicate responsibility for our actions, when we fail to claim full ownership of our decisions, our thoughts, and our destiny. The Stoic law is unforgiving. Either you stand as the master of yourself, or you surrender to weakness. Epictetus emphasized, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-doubt is nothing more than a surrender of inner sovereignty. To eradicate it, we must claim complete ownership of our strengths, our failures, our choices, and our thoughts. We must confront every hesitation with the question, is this fear grounded in reason or in weakness? The answer is always the key to liberation. Seneca instructed, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." The mind inflates our doubts, creating monsters where there are none. By taking ownership, acknowledging our fears, analyzing them, and acting despite them, we dismantle these illusions. Hesitation dissolves, uncertainty vanishes. Only action, deliberate and disciplined, remains. This law is brutal because it leaves no comfort, no victimhood, no excuses. It demands that we confront ourselves honestly, recognize our power, and act with unwavering clarity. The moment we claim ownership of our mind, our choices, and our destiny, self-doubt dies. It cannot survive the light of relentless responsibility. We rise then, not because the world has cleared a path, but because we refuse to surrender to fear. We act, we reflect, we own. Each deliberate choice, each disciplined action, each moment of courage is a strike against self-doubt. The Stoic law is simple. Own everything, doubt nothing, and master the fortress of your mind. Self-doubt is gone when we embrace ownership. Our mind is sovereign. Our actions are deliberate. Our path is unshakable. This is the law that destroys hesitation forever, and the freedom it brings is absolute. The Stoic law of relentless ownership obliterates self-doubt. Self-doubt is a silent predator. It infiltrates our thoughts, festers in our hesitation, and thrives in every moment we question our worth or capacity. It is not born from reality. It is a shadow cast by inaction, fear, and our failure to own ourselves fully. The Stoics knew this well. They understood that the path to inner power, resilience, and unshakable confidence begins with one brutal, unyielding principle: ownership of the self in every thought, word, and deed. Marcus Aurelius, burdened by empire yet undaunted in spirit, warned, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." His words are more than ethics. They are a blueprint for obliterating self-doubt. Every moment we hesitate, every second we let uncertainty rule our choices, we surrender our sovereignty. Self-doubt is the mind's rebellion against its own mastery. To destroy it, we must reclaim total ownership of our actions, our judgments, and our destiny. No excuses, no victimhood, no deflection. Epictetus, once a slave yet a master of himself, echoed this relentless demand. No man is free who is not master of himself. Self-doubt is simply the erosion of mastery. It whispers, "You are not enough. You cannot succeed. You are unworthy." These whispers are lies, empowered only because we fail to confront them with reason, reflection, and deliberate action. The Stoic law is clear. You either take ownership of your mind, your choices, and your life, or you remain its prisoner. The law is brutal because it allows no comfort. There is no refuge in denial, no solace in postponement, no excuse for hesitation. Seneca reminds us, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Our doubts are illusions, inflated by fear, and fed by inaction. To destroy them, we must confront them directly. Acknowledge the fear, name it, analyze it, then act. Each deliberate action is a hammer blow against the walls of doubt. Consider this: self-doubt thrives when we measure ourselves by the world's standards rather than our own virtue. We compare, envy, and despair. Stoicism teaches us to own our own path, to act in accordance with reason, and to measure ourselves only against our capacity for discipline and virtue. The mind trained in this law does not ask, "Am I good enough?" It asks, "Am I acting rightly? Am I in control of myself?" When the answer is yes, doubt loses all power. The practice is not abstract. Begin each day with reflection. What am I avoiding? What fear tempts hesitation? What choice am I postponing out of uncertainty? Then commit to deliberate action. Each small step, resisting anger, speaking with clarity, completing a task with focus, is a strike against doubt. Each action reminds the mind that it is sovereign, that power resides not in circumstance, but in disciplined choice. Self-doubt cannot survive when we accept full responsibility for our thoughts, our decisions, and our actions. It is a parasite on weakness, thriving only when we abdicate control. The Stoic law teaches, the mind belongs to you and no one else. Your choices, your virtue, your courage, these are yours to claim. Hesitation, fear, and indecision are the betrayers that vanish under relentless ownership. This is the brutal truth. The universe will not wait for your confidence to arrive. Life moves relentlessly forward, indifferent to doubt or hesitation. The only way to act with certainty is to own every part of yourself. Recognize fear, accept responsibility, act decisively. The fortress of the mind is strengthened with each choice made despite uncertainty, each step taken without waiting for courage to come fully formed. Relentless ownership destroys self-doubt not through comfort, but through mastery. It requires vigilance, reflection, and action. Each day, each decision, each moment becomes a test. Will I act as the master of myself, or will I surrender to hesitation? The answer builds unshakable confidence. The answer frees the mind. The answer transforms hesitation into power. When we embrace this law, self-doubt dies. It cannot survive the light of responsibility. It cannot exist in a mind that has claimed sovereignty over its thoughts, its actions, and its life. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all point to the same truth. Power, confidence, and freedom are cultivated within, not granted from without. Ownership of self is the only weapon capable of obliterating hesitation, fear, and doubt. We rise then, not by hoping for certainty, but by acting with relentless ownership. Each choice, each disciplined action, each refusal to defer courage carves the mind into a fortress. Self-doubt shatters, hesitation crumbles. In its place stands sovereignty, clarity, and limitless potential. The Stoic law of relentless ownership, crushing self-doubt. Self-doubt is not a fleeting thought, it is a predator. It lurks in hesitation, festers in inaction, and thrives wherever we surrender control over our own mind. Its voice whispers, "You are not enough. You are not ready. You will fail." It is subtle, insidious, and cruel, yet entirely mortal. For the mind trained in Stoic discipline, it is nothing but a judgment, a choice we make to believe in weakness over reason. The path to destroy it forever is anchored in one brutal Stoic law: relentless ownership of self. Marcus Aurelius, a ruler of men and master of himself, said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Every hesitation, every pang of uncertainty is born from a refusal to claim responsibility for our actions and decisions. Self-doubt only survives when we allow it to. When we abdicate ownership of our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, we invite it to rule. This law is brutal because it allows no escape, no denial, no excuses. Either we take ownership or we remain captive. Epictetus, who endured the chains of slavery yet rose to wisdom, reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To doubt ourselves is to surrender mastery. The Stoics understood that freedom and confidence are inseparable. Without control over our judgments and actions, we cannot act decisively. Doubt is the symptom of surrender. Ownership is its cure. It is not enough to wish for confidence. We must claim it moment by moment, choice by choice. Seneca warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Self-doubt is often an illusion, inflated by fear and fed by hesitation. The Stoic responds by confronting it directly. Identify the fear, name it, and act despite it. Every deliberate action weakens doubt. Every choice executed in reason's light fortifies the mind. Hesitation is a luxury the strong cannot afford. Consider the way doubt multiplies when we measure ourselves by the world's expectations. Comparison is poison. The Stoics teach us to own our own path, to measure ourselves only by our capacity for discipline, reflection, and virtuous action. The question is no longer, am I good enough, but am I acting rightly? Am I mastering myself? When the answer is yes, the voice of doubt falls silent. The law of relentless ownership demands vigilance. Begin each day with reflection. What fear tempts avoidance? What hesitation clouds judgment? Then act deliberately. Small victories, resisting anger, completing tasks without delay, speaking with clarity, compound into unshakable confidence. Each act of ownership is a strike against doubt, a reinforcement of sovereignty. Self-doubt cannot survive in a mind that owns itself completely. It thrives only in surrender. To destroy it, we must claim ownership of our thoughts, our choices, our actions, and our life. Hesitation, fear, and indecision vanish in the face of relentless responsibility. The Stoic law is absolute. The mind belongs to you, and only you. This law is brutal because it asks nothing less than full accountability. There is no comfort, no excuses, no escape. The universe will not pause for our confidence to arrive. Life will not wait for fear to subside. The only path is ownership, recognizing fear, analyzing hesitation, and acting with deliberate courage. Each choice, made in the absence of certainty, is a hammer blow against doubt. When we embrace this law, hesitation crumbles. Self-doubt is annihilated. The mind, once captive to fear, becomes sovereign. Confidence is not an illusion. It is a fortress built of deliberate action, reflection, and mastery. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca converge on the same truth. The power to overcome fear, hesitation, and doubt lies within, and it is ours to claim. We rise not by waiting for courage to arrive, but by acting despite its absence. Every decision, every disciplined act, every refusal to delay action carves the mind into a citadel. Self-doubt cannot breach a fortress built on ownership. Hesitation dissolves. Fear loses its hold. What remains is sovereignty, clarity, and limitless potential. The Stoic law of relentless ownership annihilates self-doubt. Self-doubt is a silent predator. It stalks our thoughts, grows in hesitation, and feasts on every moment we fail to act with reason and courage. It whispers, "You are not enough. You cannot succeed. You are unworthy." It thrives not because it is real, but because we allow it to exist, because we surrender our power over our own mind. Stoicism teaches that this surrender is not a mere weakness, it is a choice. And like all choices, it can be reversed. The path to destroy self-doubt forever lies in one brutal Stoic law: relentless ownership of self. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, instructed, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Every moment of hesitation, every thought of uncertainty, is a moment we refuse to own our actions and our judgments. Doubt flourishes where responsibility is abandoned. The Stoic law is unyielding. Either we claim sovereignty over our mind, our choices, and our life, or we remain prisoners of our own fears. Epictetus, who endured slavery yet achieved mastery of himself, reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-doubt is nothing more than a symptom of relinquished control. It whispers lies to keep us passive, to tempt us into surrender. To destroy it, we must claim ownership, not occasionally, but relentlessly. Every decision, every thought, Every action belongs to us. We cannot defer responsibility to circumstance, others, or fleeting emotions. Seneca, a Stoic sage, warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Self-doubt is largely imagination. Fear inflates small uncertainties into mountains of hesitation, but the Stoic mind dismantles illusion with reason and action. We identify the fear, confront it, and act despite it. Each deliberate step taken in reason's light is a strike against doubt, a reinforcement of sovereignty. The law of relentless ownership also challenges our comparison to others. Self-doubt thrives when we measure ourselves by external standards. The Stoic measures himself only by his own capacity for discipline, reflection, and virtue. The question becomes not, am I enough? But am I acting rightly? Am I mastering myself? When the answer is yes, doubt collapses under the weight of truth. Practice is essential. Each day, we reflect. What hesitation tempts me? What fear prevents action? What thought weakens my resolve? Then we act. Resist anger, speak with clarity, complete the task, embrace discomfort. Small victories compound, forging confidence unassailable by fear. Self-doubt cannot survive in a mind that is sovereign over itself. This law is brutal because it allows no escape, no excuses, no indulgence in comfort. The universe does not pause for our courage to arrive. Life does not wait for fear to subside. The only path is ownership, acknowledging fear, analyzing hesitation, and acting decisively. Each choice made with clarity and discipline fortifies the mind and demolishes doubt. When we embrace this law fully, hesitation disappears. Self-doubt dies. The mind, once captive to uncertainty, becomes sovereign. Confidence is no longer fragile. It is a fortress built through reflection, deliberate action, and mastery of self. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca converge on one truth. The power to overcome doubt, fear, and hesitation lies within, and it is ours to claim. We rise not by waiting for courage, but by acting despite its absence. Every decision, every disciplined act, every refusal to delay action carves the mind into a citadel. Self-doubt cannot breach a fortress built on relentless ownership. Fear falters, hesitation crumbles. What remains is sovereignty, clarity, and limitless potential. The Stoic law is simple, but brutal. Own yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your life. The moment you do, self-doubt has no power. Freedom becomes not a dream, but an unshakable reality. Within that reality lies a mind disciplined, sovereign, and limitless. There is no uncertainty that can touch it, no fear that can weaken it, no doubt that can survive. To destroy self-doubt forever, we embrace ownership, act with unyielding clarity, and cultivate a fortress of the mind. This is not comfort. It is not easy. It is the Stoic way. And in this mastery, we become unstoppable. The Stoic law of relentless ownership eradicates self-doubt. Self-doubt is a shadow that lurks in the corners of our mind, whispering that we are unworthy, unprepared, and incapable. It grows in hesitation, feeds on fear, and festers wherever we fail to act with clarity and discipline. Stoicism teaches that this shadow is not real. It exists only because we allow it to. Its power comes from our own surrender. To destroy self-doubt forever, we must embrace one brutal Stoic law: relentless ownership of self. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Every moment we hesitate, every thought of uncertainty we entertain, is a moment we refuse to claim responsibility for our actions, our thoughts, and our destiny. Self-doubt thrives where responsibility is abandoned. The law of ownership is ruthless. Either we master ourselves, or we remain prisoners of our fears. Epictetus, a man born into slavery, yet a master of his own mind, reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-doubt is nothing but abdication. It survives because we relinquish control over our judgments and our choices. To eradicate it, we must claim total ownership, not occasionally, but relentlessly. Every thought, word, and action belongs to us. We cannot defer responsibility to others, to circumstance, or to our fleeting emotions. Seneca warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Doubt is mostly imagination, fear inflated into hesitation. The Stoic responds by confronting it directly, naming it, analyzing it, and acting despite it. Each deliberate action is a strike against doubt. Each choice made in reason's light fortifies the mind. Hesitation is a luxury the disciplined cannot afford. Self-doubt multiplies when we measure ourselves against others. Comparison poisons the mind. The Stoic measures only by virtue and discipline. The question shifts, not am I good enough, but am I acting rightly? Am I mastering myself? When the answer is yes, doubt collapses under the weight of truth. Practice is essential. Begin each day reflecting, what fears tempt avoidance? What hesitation clouds judgment? Then act deliberately. Small victories, resisting anger, completing tasks without delay, speaking with clarity, compound into unshakable confidence. Each act of ownership weakens doubt, fortifies sovereignty, and builds resilience. This law is brutal because it allows no comfort, no excuses, no indulgence in weakness. The universe does not pause for our courage. Life does not wait for fear to subside. Ownership demands recognition of fear, analysis of hesitation, and decisive action. Every choice made despite uncertainty strengthens the mind and dismantles doubt. Embracing this law annihilates hesitation. Self-doubt dies. The mind, once captive to fear, becomes sovereign. Confidence is no longer fragile. It is a fortress built from deliberate action, reflection, and mastery. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca converge on the same truth. The power to overcome fear, hesitation, and doubt resides within, and it is ours to claim. We rise not by waiting for courage, but by acting despite its absence. Each decision, each disciplined act, each refusal to delay action carves the mind into a citadel. Self-doubt cannot breach a fortress built on relentless ownership. Fear falters, hesitation crumbles. What remains is sovereignty, clarity, and limitless potential. The Stoic law is simple, but brutal. Own yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your life. The moment you do, self-doubt dies. Freedom becomes not a dream, but an unshakable reality. Within that reality lies a mind disciplined, sovereign, and limitless. No fear, no hesitation, no doubt can survive. To destroy self-doubt forever, we embrace ownership, act with unwavering clarity, and cultivate the mind as an impregnable fortress. It is not comfortable. It is not easy. It is the Stoic way. And in this mastery, we become unstoppable. Self-doubt dies the moment you claim ownership of your mind, your actions, and your life. Remember, the world will not wait for your courage, but your mind can be unshakable. Stand firm, act with clarity, and build a fortress within that no fear, no hesitation, no doubt can ever breach. Until next time, stay relentless.